I know I haven't made a video in a while for anything really, so make a video now. RC parts are taking forever to get in because they're from China, and I haven't had a lot of time with my new internship, but the internship's almost done, so since I'm getting the money now that I'm starting some new projects. So the first one is this trailer. It's 4,000 pound towing capacity, 10 foot including the tongue. They're actually very big tires. Those are bigger than my Explorer, but they're smaller than my mom's truck. But they're like standard SUV tires. I'm not exactly sure what the size. It looks like they're 225 by 75 R15s. So that's pretty decently sized tire. Put new lugs in it, new brake lights. The guy wanted 180, but it was on the website for more than a month, so he wanted 100 for it. I took it. It needs a brand new bed, as you'll see in a minute. The fenders were attached to this board, but I have now taken them off, and I need a wheel instead of just a roller ball underneath to keep it up over there. So I'll take off the sides now because the sides are removable. So that's it with the sides off. I'll bring you closer to it. So I'm trying to make this into a flatbed. Bring it to the front. I'm trying to make this into a flatbed trailer. Sorry about the wind. This was the nicest day I could do this. So it's gonna be a flatbed, and it's 1x6s. I only had a couple of them, and they have to be 4'8" because there's an extra 2 inches between here and there to make 4'10". It's a really weird size, as I said before. It had rust, but the guy said he sanded down to paint it, so I repainted it with this thicker black. It originally was red, but I'll probably repaint it black anyway. Has 7 leaf springs with dampeners on it, which is nice. And I just bolted on these fenders earlier. Actually, 2 days ago, on Friday. I bolted on these fenders. I used 3/8 inch bolt and keep nuts, just so we couldn't lose them. That side too. So what I had to do was do little holes in the fender. I had to cut out these 15 inches, and since these are perfectly spaced by an inch, it's really easy to count how many you need on each side to keep it level. They look crooked here, it's because the front's not at level height. So these are galvanized steel tops with painted-ish. These are for railings for like a shelf, so they're pretty duty. I can sit on this. It looks like it bends a lot, which it really doesn't. This whole entire plate here is flexing because there's no wood underneath it to keep it from not flexing. In the front, it doesn't flex at all. So that's where the 1x6s are in. And I just used the part, cut some of these off, and I made an L bracket and strengthened it up with a weld. It had brackets, so when I bought it, one of the rails wasn't on. Actually, this rail wasn't on at all. So what I need to do was bolt that rail on. And it has these little holes in the side you can bolt it on. I had to use like 5/16 bolts, but with washers to keep this on. But see, once it's on, I can move it. It's not going to go anywhere. There's a nut on there. What else? So it tips up, which I find really nice. Which I'm gonna have to get a wrench here to show you. But, so what I'm planning to do with the trailer is, it is a flatbed, but I want to make it with a camper on top, so you can take off camper, have a flatbed, put the camper on, that's camper trailer. But since it's such a good price, I couldn't really pass it up, especially for that load capacity, because I I can carry basically a whole entire another Explorer on this trailer, and it could handle it. That's max weight, but it can handle it. It does need rubber stops for under here, but that's when it's fully loaded, and I don't even really need them because I'll never have this fully loaded probably. So that's nice. I had to re-weld some of the parts on here because they were rusted, so I had to, like over in the corner there, I had to re-weld that little spot in the middle. It's a little cracked. Other than that, seemed to be okay. I'm gonna go get a wrench now so I can unbolt that to show you the tipping function. I'll be back in a second. I believe this is a 3/4 size bolt. Yep, it is. So it's one big 3/4 inch bolt. You slide it out. And unwrap my part. It's not the prettiest. I gotta put the tube across it so it doesn't get injured, but for now it's okay. And then, I'll move you out so you can see this better. You remove that bolt and nut. And then, you lift up on here, and it tilts. You see how that works? Is that there's basically a second trailer underneath, right here, and it's hinged on that point where it's connected, so it kind of moves back a little when you do that. It's not exactly a big deal, but when you have a big load on there, you want to make sure this isn't going to pop off. So put that back on. And that's also why it isn't sitting level, is because whoever drilled this hole out didn't do it level. It's not a big deal because when it's on the truck, it's pretty level. And when I get one of these that actually moves up and down, I don't believe this one does because I've tried and I couldn't get it to move. So when I get one of those that moves up and down, it will actually sit level when I put it down. But it's not a big deal for now because it is just a utility trailer after all. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, it's hard to find anything anymore for $100, let alone a trailer, so. So what I'm planning on doing is putting the sides back on for when it's utility trailer. I gotta remake them because these are pretty rotted out. I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean, so these are supposed to be bolted flush and tight to it. These sides are, and that's just, and I tightened the bolt and it made it worse. So, and it's all rotted out. It's just, you could stab it and see how quick I got my knife here. So normal wood, you can stab it, it's not going to chip apart. It's just so soggy too. I mean, usually you can just see like this edge here, it's just rotting. And this knife isn't exactly the sharpest thing, but it should be able to not cut that much off. Okay. Back to the trailer. Okay, so what else am I gonna do with this trailer? Well, let me show you some of the upgrades I did to it. I put in heavy duty lugs. These are for actually 8,000 pounds. I got them at Farm and Fleet. It's a Midwest thing if you don't live here. Sorry, I gotta lower you down real quick so you can this better. These are 10,000 pound, I'm sorry, 8,000 pound capacity. The 10,000 pounds are a lot more expensive. But they are an inch and a half long instead of the standard inch long ones that were on here, which is good because see, if I want to put a bigger tire on here, I don't have to get new lugs. And also if I want to, I could double nut these, so that's not a big deal. I need new hubcap, obviously. Bearing cap, yeah. Bearings seem good, they don't have any wobble to them. They don't get too hot. I had to drive this 40 miles from where it was parked, and they got warm, but they're not hot like broken bearings. The rim seems in pretty good shape. I mean, it's a little dented and a little shattered, but that's just normal age wear stuff. Tires are pretty nice. They got a little bit of cracking from age and sitting, but once we get them on the road, they should be okay. And they're still holding air, so I don't mind. What else did I do? I put in new brake lights because I didn't have any at all. I had to use my magnetic ones to get it home. These are Ace ones. I don't know what brand these are. These are just some Chinese stuff. I prefer the round ones because they're less vulnerable to get hit. Unlike like on our boat here, we have these square ones, which the sides stick out like by 2 inches and they just get snapped off and broken. And they just get completely wrecked, like this one. Like, and they're so cheap and they're so hollow. These are a little bit more dense than those ones. They're a little bit thicker plastic and they don't stick out as far and they're a blinker, so that's nice. And since this trailer is so short, I do not need side indicators on the front or on the back. Still trying to figure out how the taillights work on these. I just need to wire it up properly, but it's got a 2-filament bulb, so you can have your taillights on or off. And I didn't surprisingly have to make brackets. They're already built in, and then you can stick the wire down there. I didn't want it to go through because I didn't have any protective casing, so I just went underneath the trailer through a Y and then went down the center beam, which seemed to work okay. Same with this side. I'll show you an up close on the bolts and how that bracket works. So this bracket works with an L bracket with the hole, same as these. I cut part of this off, just little one sections, welded it on. These aren't the prettiest welds, but I don't have the prettiest welder either. If I had a better welder, I think it'd be better. Fender's got nice welds, surprisingly. They're cleaner metal. Then I want to bead through here to keep this strong, so you can sit on it as I showed earlier. And when the sides are on it, it should be a lot stronger too. Since there's no side, it's going to be a little weaker. So there's that. How I did this was, originally it had aluminum, otherwise I would have just drilled a hole through the thinner sheet metal if it was normal, but since it was aluminum, it was already drilled out, but the thing was is that it was very weak, and I couldn't do this, what I did, because the placement was a lot different too. But see, it was this kind of aluminum, and they just cut it and bent it, and left little gaps. So this would just bend out because I don't have a TIG welder. Otherwise I would have just bolted these on with a little bit thicker, but I don't have a welder to do that. And as you can see, the bolt sticks out right here. Welded it there, so this top plate is steel, but the outside skirts are not, they're aluminum. I'm gonna paint them. I already wire brushed that one and this one, the top and the sides. It's just the metal is kind of it's pretty dirty, so I have to do it again. But that side actually turned out pretty well. I don't know how much left there is to talk about this trailer. I mean, it's a standard 2-inch ball. That's really about it. I guess I could show you how stiff the suspension is by jumping on it. It does not really flex at all. Kind of just sits there. That should be a good way to see. So if I jump on it, so usually, but I know since it's a 4,000 pound suspension, then it should be tight. But when I jump on it and the front jiggles up and down, yeah, that kind of doesn't add up. Gonna kind of go around the trailer now. So I'm gonna bolt in the camper into these so it doesn't go anywhere. The guy painted it red to keep it from rusting. I mean, it's not a bad color for it, but I'm gonna paint it like black because black just is a lot easier and cheaper. So these are just 2x6s because they fit in a groove here. As you can see over there, there's a groove underneath here, and it fits 1x6s perfectly. This one's bent, but I need to get more. I was gonna put a big sheet of plywood on here, but I thought that might be a little bit too flimsy. Well, this stuff's pretty strong. You can stand on this, you can jump on this. This doesn't really bend, which is good. Someone told me that I should probably put some beams from here to here, but it's only 2 feet, like 2.5 feet from the middle post to the end. On this side, that side's only 2 feet. So, yeah, it's pretty sure it's gonna be okay. So, and this front part, I had to put a thinner piece because it wouldn't fit under here because for some reason this is taller than that. But I have like a weird plywood piece I put in there. That's gonna work okay. Yeah, so this good project trailer since it was so cheap. So yeah, I will be making some RC videos soon. I just need to get. I have motor and ESC coming in for the Piranha because I burnt it up. That's why you haven't seen a run video because I told you I'd have another one, but I burnt it up with 3S. So those motors, the Apex motor is not rated for 3S. So I have some new ones that are coming in, and I've just been waiting to get paid. There's been an issue with that, so yeah. You can even see how that car right there is flat, but it's bent because of the drill hole, but it's fine. I need a better thing than a roller for that. I need like a wheel like on my boat trailer, so there's that. Yeah, so you'll be seeing this with the bed complete shortly, and then I'm gonna sand it and then paint some of it. So you'll see that in the coming video, but you'll see some RC videos first. So okay, guys, I will talk to you later.